do it for you.
Baby, don't forget the floor is yours. Yeah, baby, I mean the floor is yours. If it come down to the floor is yours, let me show you how I prove the floor is yours. 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 The floor is yours.
Now it's my turn to tell you.
All right, good evening, Facebook and YouTube. Welcome to another episode of the Floor is Yours podcast. It's your boy Flex, the producer, and I got a special guest here with us. But before we let you, Keeks, introduce yourself. Let me give a couple just house rules. Y'all know the name of the game. Like, share, follow, let everybody know about us. If you know people that's not on Facebook, send them to YouTube. Look for us on YouTube for Under the Floor is Yours podcast, and you'll find everything that we got going on over there too. But again, this is the Floor is Yours podcast. Your boy Flex. This is a special month, one that is near and dear to me. This is Mental Health Awareness Month, and that's part of the reason that we have a special guest here. I've been knowing her for 21 years. You're 21, right?
23.
Okay.
About to be
You're
24.
23. Okay. Well, yeah, I jacked that one. Really? It's been that long. So a lot of people, I met you when you were born. Me and your mom was stationed together back in Fort Hood, and I remember the day you was born, and that whole thing, it embodies what it means to be a community. And I just remember we was a bunch of young soldiers. We were trying to figure life out, and here comes this
Mm-hmm.
special life into this world, and we all just came together to make sure that we supported her any way that she needed. So that's real special to me. But go ahead and take a moment to tell us who you are and what brings you to the show.
All right. Well, I'm Kiara Perkins, but a lot of people call me Keeks. I work for the Potter County Human Services. I'm a housing specialist and a blended case manager for our mental health department. I graduated from Alfred State College. Um,
You said Alfred State College?
Alfred State College in
Okay.
2021, technically.
Okay.
Um, And then actually started my internship there, and they offered me a job right on the spot. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's dope. So needless to say, you went to school for something in the mental health field, if I remember
I
correctly.
went I got my bachelor's in human services management, but I also got my associates in social sciences.
Oh wow, that's dope. That's dope. And just before we jump into the topic, just kind of tell us why mental health, like what brought you to want to do work in this arena.
So I was always interested in the brain, trying to understand it. I don't think we'll ever really get a full understanding of it just because it's so complex.
Right.
But definitely, because I did sports all throughout high school. I did volleyball in college. Definitely all those pressures from being just a student alone was a lot, but then going on and adding the stresses of playing a sport as well. And I think sometimes it's not something that's always looked at. So definitely just to bring more awareness to the mental health.
Yeah. Okay. And is there a specific area in mental health that you kind of gravitate to, or is it's kind of overarching?
Kind of just a little bit of everything. I know, like for work and stuff, we recently did trainings for trauma. So we're all trauma competent professionals in our
Okay.
office.
Yeah. And we'll ask later on just kind of some of your experiences, there. And you said you're a case manager.
Yes.
And what does that entail?
So I do case management for for the homeless people in the county. But I also do case management for like blended case management. So for blended case management, you're working with people that have the higher mental health diagnoses. Um, and so the whole role of that is to help to prevent them to be hospitalized.
Hmm.
So a lot of the people that we've worked with for blended case management, like they've been hospitalized in the past. So we kind of help to coordinate the services that they need to help to keep them in the community and out of the hospitals. Now, as a housing specialist, um, I kind of do the same thing. They're not usually hospitalized as much as the people that um, I work with for blended case management are. A lot of the people that I work with for housing, or a lot of the people are like coming out of the jails. They're learning to get back into the community. They're getting pretty much their second chance.
That's pretty interesting because I used to work as a correction officer,
Okay.
and I saw firsthand a lot of the mental health challenges that come with, you know, not just being incarcerated, but that's a big part of it. But I just put it this way: they come there sometimes with no seemingly no issues, but by the time they spend, a considerable amount of time in there, you develop mental health issues. And I think you mentioned the word trauma. So of course there is the physical trauma, but the mental side as well is, I hear people talk about sometimes mental trauma can hurt you more than the physical part.
Yeah.
Would you say that that's right?
I would say definitely. There's always more than what meets the eye. So, like, you can look at somebody and be like, "Oh, they're perfectly fine," but like, you really don't know what they're thinking, like what's going on through their head.
Mhm.
And that is definitely one of the struggles that I have with working with the people that are coming out of the jails. Um, a lot of them have been in there for 5, 10 years. So
Mhm.
it's like the community is completely different from when they um, were out in the community last.
Yeah,
So they have to learn everything new. They have to learn um, just stuff that their people are doing in the communities.
yeah. That's tough. You're right. That's stressful in itself. You hear some of the you see some of the shows where people are reintegrating back into society. And I remember this one where the guy had never used a cell phone. And I'm just thinking, like, you're right. If you've been locked up 30 plus years, the
Hmm.
cell phone wasn't even a thing. Well, at least in the way that we see it now. So that's the thing. So when at your facility, do they live there or do they come throughout the day, check in and check out? What does that look like?
So at the office, they don't come to the office. So we actually have a men's transitional house. We have
Hmm.
two of them um, in our one town, which is where most of our resources are.
Hmm.
We do also have a shelter in the women's transitional living program um, out in a town called Harrison Valley. The women's side is actually connected to our women's recovery center. So like instead of like females going to jail and stuff, they can actually go do their time at that recovery center. And then oftentimes, like once they finish doing their time, they can come over to our transitional living program.
Yeah. And so what are some of the things that y'all focus on in that facility?
So we like to keep it more simplified because when they come out, their mindset is I need to do this and I need to do it right now.
Oh, okay.
So so I'd like to keep it simplified. We focus on income because you need income, getting them connected to services that they may need to help them succeed, and then also like the housing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an important part of it. I just think about it as I go through life challenges, and we all go through them,
Hmm.
how important it is to not worry about the financials, where you lay your head. So I bet in my mind, I'm just thinking like that's a huge relief for them that you're helping them in that area, right?
Yeah. I've had a couple of people actually just reach out recently. Like when I first started there, um, some people reach out to me and like follow up and saying like how they're still doing really well and how they're very thankful for that program.
That's good. That's good. I'm gonna read a couple of questions and comments here. We got a good friend, Carlika. We call her C Money. She says, "Hello, y'all." Lena, she says, "Awesome mental health warriors. You're definitely that." Tip. She said this is a ministry, and I'll just stop real quick on that. I believe it is a ministry. When you look at the services that you offer, it is a ministry. Not in the sense of a religious ministry, but providing services to someone, which is what ministry is, to be a servant. Do you agree
Mhm.
with that?
I definitely agree.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And Keena from San Antonio, she says those are the ones you have to check up on frequently. She is talking about the one transitioning from jail or prison. The ones they are always smiling. Oh, I take that back. The ones who are always smiling but hiding trauma. So how do you break through that barrier? Because you're right, you're totally dependent on people being transparent, or maybe not totally, but if I'm not being transparent, like what are the things that you try to pick up on?
So for this, it is different for everyone because
Mhm.
everybody is different.
Right.
Um, Definitely, all you need is like one thing to really stick with them. One thing that they can really connect to, where they can see, like, oh, like I want a change.
Yeah.
Um, I don't want to keep living this life or whatever.
Hmm.
So often, even like um, so even with like the people in drug and alcohol, like getting them sponsors and stuff. So they have somebody that had went through those experiences too. So they can actually relate to someone a little bit more.
Yeah, which is important. We're a society that feel like if you hadn't been through it, like how can you tell me anything? So I can see how important it is to have a sponsor that can relate to them. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to get a little more personal into the job. So what are some? And I don't know. I don't want to dig too far and you share stuff that you shouldn't. But can you tell us like what are some of the worst cases that you have come across?
Well, I've actually had a pretty complex case the last couple of weeks. Like once, like I have one that's a family,
Mhm.
just off, just got off probation, was doing, making progress, but for some reason just couldn't break through.
Yeah.
And that's very difficult because the only person that can help them to get through that is themselves. Like we
Yeah.
can be there to offer them support, but they have to be the ones that are actually willing to make that change.
Yeah. So I imagine y'all try to create an environment that's conducive to them growing. But I'm thinking about a lot of times when you have drugs and alcohol, then sometimes, especially in intimate relationships, there's the physical violence as well. Do y'all have to deal with that at all?
Um, in the past, like I've had people that have had charges like that, but
Mhm.
I personally haven't had those experiences with them. I think when they come into like the program, like especially the guys, they're actually very respectful. Like they know don't damage the property.
Yeah.
Like you respect me, I will respect you.
Hmm.
Because I think they all have that understanding that I'm there to help to support
Yeah.
them.
Okay. Well, that's good. It's Kayla, my daughter. She says creating a safe space so they can open up can help start the process. And
Yes.
I'll let
Yeah.
you comment on that if you want.
Yes. So our right off the very first meeting, when I do their intake and stuff, um, I go over when doing their intake, I let them know that this is a safe place. Like this is everything that we talk about is confidential. Um, the only like I the only way that I would really release that information is if there was a risk of harm to them or to somebody else, but they all get that understanding. But also letting them know that um, them talking to me is only going to help me to help them.
Mm, yeah, yeah, it's tough. I can see how. I just know the experience that I had when I worked there. Like there was a distrust, if you will, even if it wasn't the jailers or the correctional officers, just the staff.
Hmm.
Sometimes there was a distrust. So being able to build that trust and set that expectation in the beginning is super important.
Yeah,
Kayla
I've
also
definitely,
says, "Go ahead."
I've had is like it's been difficult with like one case that I had like when I first started because I'm so young, and I was working with a mom and her 18-year-old. So of course the mom's like, "Well, what what do you know? Like
Yeah.
you're like you just got out of college and stuff." So definitely building the rapport and helping them to feel heard. So
Yeah.
like in like our meetings with the other providers and stuff, if they felt that the provider wasn't hearing them, I would speak up and say something too.
Mhm.
So that was also helpful.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Kayla also says, creating more programs to help them recover versus placing them back in corrections after the three strikes. She said, giving them the opportunity to change. But like Kiara said, they have to want to help themselves. Yeah, that's
Yes.
important. Yeah, you know the thing is, accountability is such that if something does go wrong, they do something, they have to go back. But you hate to create that revolving cycle of in and out. I'm trying to on resources. Are y'all short on them at that facility? Because are you sponsored by the state or?
So yeah, it's I have a civil service job, so all of our funding does
Okay.
come from the state. But yeah.
Okay. Cool. Cool. And Carlika said advocacy is definitely needed. So yeah, that's a strong part of what you're doing. So you've been working there for how long?
2 years as of the 19th of April.
Okay, so have you seen like what does the transition look like from where you started to what they're doing now? Because all organizations are changing and trying to grow. Do you see it changing for the better?
Yes. So actually, um the transitional living program, like, actually grew with me, so
Oh,
that
okay.
was my internship. I helped to, create the transitional living program and get it running in our county. So it's been, like, a learning experience and, trying to learn and see what works with some people and what works with others, but
Mm, okay, well, cool. So I want to do a scenario like I come to your facility, 10 years in jail for alcohol abuse, had a DUI, but I come to you. What does that intake look like? And then how walk us through the services that you'll provide me.
so oftentimes those that are involved with drug and alcohol substance use, we get them connected to drug and alcohol for an evaluation,
Hmm.
just to make sure that because oftentimes they have that urge to want to use, especially when they're coming out. Um,
Hmm.
so with that evaluation, making sure, seeing if like a rehab is suitable for them or something else. But then we can get them um, enrolled into the transitional living program. But if that's the case where they do come directly to the transitional living program, um, definitely making sure that they're connected with drug and alcohol. I also work closely with our forensic reentry specialist, so he often coordinates with them as well,
Hmm.
and getting them connected to a therapist if needed, a counselor, um, a sponsor,
Yeah.
um, just making sure that they have those resources to fall back on if
Yeah.
needed.
Okay. We got a couple more questions there from Tip. She says being limited to what they can do after prison is probably the biggest mental challenge. Yeah. Some laws of being a felon need to change. And that's huge. And I hear people all the time saying what the challenge is to find, meaningful in their mind, what's meaningful employment. It's a challenge. Do you run across that?
We've definitely had some issues in the past, but we have some different companies that work well with us,
Okay.
that hire felons. We also work to build relationships with some of the landlords as well, so they can give them a
Mhm.
chance as well.
That's good. You're right. Because even when it comes to renting apartments, or even I'm just thinking about when you get if you end up with a good paying job or you can afford to purchase a home, that can even be a challenge because of your record. So that's good that you have that. Um, Alana says, do you work with other outside programs like NPOs to assist with programming? I don't know what NPOs are.
I'm not sure what NPOs are.
So, Alana, if you can tell us what NPOs are, and then we'll address that question while we go to Kayla. She says, does your program have limitations for these offenders as far as receiving help from your facility?
Nope, there's no limitations. The only thing is that they have to be willing to participate in these services. Mental health is something that is definitely struggling with that because we can't force somebody to get mental health services.
Uh, Okay, so she said NPOs. I should have known that. She said nonprofit organizations. So I'll go back to the question. Do you work with other outside programs like nonprofit organizations to assist with your programming?
Yes, I have worked with some other programs as well. Um, every about every other week, or not every other week, every other month, we have like a big meeting with our resources in our county. So working with like Habitat for Humanity, they helped us to get some of the like furniture and stuff for our houses, but also like a way out for domestic violence. They also use them as well.
Hmm.
But yes, they're
Okay,
able to work with them closely.
that's huge. And the more and more you talk about it, I do see how huge of an effort it is to do it. Again, it's not just the housing; it's the job, it's the mental health piece of it, the medical. If they need to see doctors, if they have other ailments. What about reintegrating with their family members? Do y'all play a part in that?
So some of them they do have that goal of wanting to be connected with their families again. So we set the foundation of completing the big goals first and like to show that you can have that stable environment
Mm.
for when going back to your families. Yes.
Instead of getting out and just going there, let's go ahead and set the stage, expectations, and all that right there, right?
Mhm.
So, I imagine when you saying there are no limitations, you will even take in, say, sex offender, maybe if it's a low level offense, too. Okay,
Yeah, we can't turn anybody down.
yeah. Oh wow. And I'm just thinking what that would look like when it comes to housing, because there are limitations on where they can live and even places of employment. So,
Mhm.
okay. How can Carlika says, how can other organizations get involved? Is there a way that they can reach your company or your organization if they want to help?
Yeah, so we have our website that has our contact information on there. But we work closely with some different providers and organizations. I am also a part of our Potter County Suicide Prevention Task Force. So we're always working on stuff for that as well to create awareness with that.
And what's the website, if you don't mind?
It's Potter County Human, and then it's svcs.org.
Okay. So what we'll do afterwards, we'll go and put that into the chat so people can go and reach out if they want to help. So this is a great question from D'Amica. She says she may have missed it, but how long does the services last, or do they expire after a certain time frame?
So for housing, our transitional living program is typically a 30 to 90-day program. Now, because of COVID, there was a lot of issues with finding available housing. We're still having this issue. So as long as they're working towards their goals and stuff, we're not just going to kick them out on the street.
Yeah.
Um, and even working with them. So like if they need to save up just a little bit more for a place, we do work with we as long as you're working with us, we work with you.
Mhm.
Um,
Okay, that's good. So we're gonna go take a commercial break and come back, and we'll switch gears and talk a little bit about your own personal organization and what you're doing in the mental health space. So take this commercial break, and we'll be right back.
Your success ain't gonna happen overnight. It may take a year, it may take 2 years, it
Step in that water, step in that water, step in that water. Yeah. You gotta be willing to go out and get it. You gotta dive in it, go and get it. Step in that water, step in that water, step in that water. Yeah. You got
All right, so y'all know the game. If you're in the Dallas Fort Worth area and you need a haircut, beard trim, and then that, reach out to my boy Miracle Hendricks, and he also has that merchandise, sweatshirts, hoodies. Speaking of hoodies, I am rocking that MDM. This is one of Keek's brand. So we're going to show you where we can get that from in here in a minute as well. But we've got a couple more questions before we go to your business. We want to make sure we address y'all. Appreciate the comments. Keep them coming, and we'll get to as many as we can. But Keena says, so if the families are the issue, is there a program that can help the families so they are able to integrate back to a healthy environment? That's a good question. What happens if the family is the problem? Do y'all offer support to them?
So actually, so in my office, we have a CASP coordinator. Now she's a child and adolescent service provider as well. So she works closely with like the kids and the families as well. She can help to coordinate like getting family based in with the families to kind of help, like we specifically don't do like the therapy and the stuff, but we are like the advocates and help them to get connected to those places that may be suitable for them.
Yeah, that's good. As I've done work in the community, I've seen sometimes where that issue you're or the challenge where you have the people who have trouble getting the services and the people that have the services sometimes finding challenges with getting the people there. So it sounds like that you figure out your organization figure out a way to bring them together so that they can assist wherever they're needing.
Hmm.
Yeah. So that's good. So on your screen, right after your name, it says "Mind Does Matter." Tell us what "Mind Does Matter" is.
So Mind Does Matter was created back in April. So I knew I wanted to expand mental health and getting the awareness out more. Part of the reason why I went into the mental health field and working where I do is because I wanted to help to create awareness. Now, because Potter County Human Services, they only work specifically for that county. I
Mm,
wanted to do something that would help to range out to more people. Now, I was sitting there trying to come up with ideas of what I could do, and then um, a lot of people that I went to college with, they were coming up with their own clothing and stuff, and I'm
mhm.
like, I didn't want to do it because I'm like, I don't want to keep doing what everybody else is doing, but eventually I was like, it's not a bad idea because it's something that people see every day.
Yeah,
Um, so that's how I came up with that. The name Mine Does Matter, um, I came up with because people often say, like, if they're going through a difficult time or they just need to get something done, they say mind over matter. It does,
yeah,
and stuff like that. But like, it really does matter. Like,
yeah.
if you're not taking care of your mind, then you can't always expect that things will fall in place every time.
That
Um,
is absolutely true. Yeah. So mine does matter. So I didn't know it was that new. I remember when you reached out to me on IG and shot me the link, and my first thought was like, oh, you're sharing a friend of yours because I didn't know you was in the mental health space. But the fact that I
mhm,
saw the mind piece, it just brought my attention. So when you told me that you was doing it, I was like, man, not only is that special in itself, but just knowing how young you are. And for me, when I see the youth buy in at that level in something so necessary, it just warms my heart. So hats off to you for choosing because it's a choice. You can go anywhere. You went and got a college degree, and you could have went into corporate and just made your money, but you chose a challenging field, right?
mhm.
Yeah. Any second guessing been going on about that?
There is some days where I'm like, why am I doing this? And then but like the good like those good experiences that you have of like you get that one person that like they successfully complete that program and you're like, wow, like
Yeah,
like you're really making a change.
that's dope. That's dope. So I know you have to be careful with, mingling outside of the facility, but are there any that want to keep in touch with you or you kept in touch with loosely after they finish the program?
So I usually do follow up, and just to see make sure that they are still, on the right track, if asking if there's any assistance they may need, um, but really just following up to see, like, how they are doing.
That's good. That's good. That's when you know you care. Because it's not like you just pumping them through and checking the box and being done with them. So hats off to you on that. It's another comment from Tip. She says, yes, yes. She said it kind of like that. It's my own rendering. But she said, blessing to you, our youth need it. Be the light, baby girl. And you're right. We just pick up the news all the time and we hear the youth, doing just the wildest and craziest. And um, the news they sensationalize everything. So if you don't
Mhm.
know any better, you'll think that all the young people out there just wilding out. So we know that's not the case, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's good for us to highlight what you're doing, especially in the area that's such that need is dire and it's great. So I will say this. I know you said some days you wonder why you're doing it. And so, if you don't mind, just like what is one of those days? Was this the situation, the interaction with them, or
It's more so usually when that happens, it's more so because usually I get bombarded. So there's times where it's like very calm, and then there's
Mhm.
other times where it's like, here's a person, here's a person, here's a person. Like my phone is going like
Yeah,
nonstop. And then like multiple people going downhill at one time. And then um there's, like, some like, every once in a while, there's always that one person, they're, like that's, like, not appreciative of
yeah,
the stuff that's going on, and also the people that may feel like they deserve everything, so, those times it gets a little difficult, but having, like, my coworkers and stuff, to help to
yeah.
de-stress and
Okay. So initially, you said you've been there 2 years. Initially, you shadowed somebody, I'm sure, and then while they was working to get you to a point where you can navigate and do everything on your own.
Yeah.
Was there any fear in that?
Um So, actually, when I first started, I was doing my internship. I was probably the most shy person. I barely would talk. I'd just sit there,
Really?
nod, be like, and then I remember my director the one day, she was having me call some people. I'm like, you want me to call some people?
That's
I
so
like I like secretly waited because I didn't want to talk in front of everybody, so I secretly waited for like people to go down the hill or down the hall, and then I'd make a phone call and
really, so they're not listening to you, right? Yeah. And now you're a natural. So,
Mhm.
so if you don't mind, just if you got some people that's thinking about going into the mental health arena, do you have maybe some words of encouragement that you can tell them that maybe help them make that decision?
Um, I would definitely say, um, because a lot of it takes a special person
Yeah.
to go into that field. Like, if you're going into that field, it's because you genuinely care about people
Mhm.
and, like, you wanna make a difference. Like, y don't be afraid to, um, do that.
Yeah.
Um,
That's
step
good.
out yeah, step outside your comfort zone.
Hmm. You're right. You have to care because I'm sure in some parts of it is the money is good, but you're not doing it for the money. Of course, you got to pay your bills, but you have to have a special care for people too, because in some sense you're taking on not necessarily taking their issues on, but you have to be able to empathize with them and
Yes.
I can imagine just some of the more sad, if that's the right word to use, stories or instances that you come across, and how do you cut it off when you leave there so you're not taking that home with you?
Um, so a lot of the times, because we do talk a lot about vicarious trauma.
Hmm.
Um, so to not really take it home to you, like with you, is having those people that you work with as well.
Mm,
Knowing that you have their support. So like if I have a stressful time, like if I go and meet with a client and like they tell me like all these horrible things that they experience and I'm like sitting there like in my head I'm like, "Oh my god." And but, like,
mhm.
you really can't show that, to them.
Yeah,
So, like, you have to be there, like, sit there and listen. If it does get too much for you, then that's oftentimes where we would be like, "I'm so sorry to hear this," and stuff, but and then oftentimes refer them and say, like, "Maybe this is something that you should talk about with your therapist or your counselor,"
yeah,
um, because it's something that's beyond me. And then oftentimes going back to the office and just like talking with my director or one of my coworkers and just kind of helping to de-stress.
yeah. We often hear that phrase that therapists need therapists too. Right. So yeah, that's a real piece of it. Are you the youngest person at your facility?
Yes, I am.
Really? Okay, and been there 2 years.
Yes.
What about tenured? Are there people that started after you?
There is some people that started after me. There's let's see. Um, our building is kind of unique. We have pretty much all the departments in one building. So
Mhm.
it's nice where you can just go down the hall and be like, go talk to CYS. You can go down the hall and talk to aging.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, there has been new workers that came into the building,
Mhm.
but I'm the youngest.
Okay. So you're the youngest, but you're tenured, so they have to listen to you. So just keep that in mind. If you need to tell them, they give you some pushback. Tell them hey, you might be older than me, but I've been here
Oh
long.
yeah, yeah. I definitely learned to stand my ground because
Yeah. That's good. That's good. So we're gonna do some giveaways here. We're gonna read one more question, and I got another question for you as well. Damika says you have a genuine spirit. It's like an oath you live up to within the field, and you can tell you have compassion. Absolutely. I'll let you
thank
respond to
you.
that if you
It's
want.
very
Okay.
touching. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Okay. And this is from Mia. She said, "This is awesome, Kiara. You're doing great work. The necessity for mental health awareness is at an all-time high." Absolutely, which is why we're doing this show. Why I love that they dedicated May to Mental Health Awareness Month, but it don't stop when this month is over. It's just bringing awareness so we can
Mhm.
go out and do the work, right? Yeah. So just imagine that I go and play the lotto and I hit for 50 million and I give Keek, I give you Kiara 20 million to do whatever you want to do in the mental health arena. What are you going to do with it?
Um, so honestly, if I had that much money, it would probably be getting more supplies and doing more outreach.
Hmm.
While there is like the services and stuff available for them, doing the outreach and getting a way to connect to at least some of those people, where they may be like, okay, maybe there's more that I can be doing.
Mm, yeah. So sometimes the services are just in the people are just stretched thin. So do you think the educational piece is what it's needing to be? Because sometimes you just end up shortening it so you can get people out there, but I don't know if that's the case.
Yes, definitely the education. Um, I know because even at the younger ages, a lot of times they're having mental health issues and like they have no understanding of what's going on.
Yeah.
So definitely more education, not just for the older people, but for people of all ages.
Good point. And speaking of, someone said they would go and get other young adults to work in the field too. You're right. They need to see that representation. I imagine a young person would feel better if they come and see you there versus someone that's, been doing it for 50, 60 years. So good point right there. So
Mhm.
now we have here the website. So why don't you tell us about the website and what all we can get there?
So on this website right now, there is just these hoodies and the one that Flex is wearing. There's different colors, but on Saturday, which is my birthday, t-shirts will be dropping. Um, and I actually have one t-shirt here too that I can show you guys, but yeah, originally I wanted to start with the hoodies cuz up here in Pennsylvania, it's a little cold.
Yeah. Yeah.
And comfies are they're pretty comfy. Usually like when you have a bad day and stuff, like you just want to like
Yeah.
lay in bed, snuggle up and stuff.
Yeah.
Um, so that's why I started with the hoodies. Bracelets, those are a nice reminder. You can get them, share them with a friend, pass them on. Um,
Yeah. So I ordered quite a few bracelets. So to the people that are in this area, I'll make sure that you come in and I'll make sure we get you a bracelet. But we want to give one of the, a hoodie away. So we created a question earlier, and it was going to be, "What's the name of your college?" I don't remember, but we're gonna try that question first. So to the first person that puts in the comments the name of the college that Kiara went to and graduated from, you'll win a hoodie, and I'll make sure I get that shipped to you. So the first person that tells us the college that she went to, you win a hoodie, and I'll get that mailed to you.
mm,
Yeah. Hey, I don't blame if they don't remember because I don't remember, but my memory is not the best. So, hey, if you remember out there, go ahead and type it in. Okay. I don't think we're going to get anybody. So, how about this one? Here's an easy one. Oh, Tip said Auburn.
no.
No, it's not Auburn.
Close.
Close. Okay. That's what I was going to say next. What's the sport that you played? So, since she beat me on that one. So, how about this? What state does she live in? What state does Kara live in?
Yeah, my mom can't answer.
Yeah, so there you go, Mickey. Nope, you cannot answer. Yes. So we're saying volleyball, but remember the question is what state does she live in? What state does she live in? And while we let somebody type that in, Tip, man, she is on it. So there it is, Tip. We got you a hoodie. I have a what color did I get? A maroon one, but we also have a
Um,
black. What other colors do you have? I'll order one. Yeah,
I can't remember which color it was. I think it
yeah.
was
I got that maroon, the pigment maroon or something like that.
yes.
But you also have white. You got this black. Do you have any other colors?
So for those the one that you're wearing, there's black, navy, a couple different shades of blue, red, white, I think gray.
Okay. Okay. So I'll get with your Tip. I'll contact you after this. But I just want to shout out because we got two people, and I gave the story earlier that I was there when you were born, and there was another person here, Shalonda Goodwater. She was stationed there with us too, so I'm sure she remembers when you were born. So two of my buddies, Shalonda Goodwater and your mom, Mickey, they both are on. So I appreciate y'all tuning in and supporting this important issue. Mental health, it just get this stigma. So what we've been doing in the space that I work in, they've been calling it mental wellness, so that it doesn't sound so bad. Uh,
Mhm.
Regardless, I just want people to know that there's help out there, and it's important to for us to do what we're doing to highlight the resources that people can reach out to. There is always something going on in this show dealing in the mental health arena. So follow the Floor is Yours podcast. Again, we're on YouTube, Facebook, we're on LinkedIn, we are on IG and TikTok.
And also follow our Instagram and
Yeah,
Facebook. For the month of May, we're doing daily mood boosters. So there's a daily task and a quote that is being posted. So after you complete that task that day, like, share, and then you can comment, put a check mark saying that you completed that task. And then for each task that you complete, your name will be entered for a free giveaway at the end of the month.
that's dope. That's dope. So where do we find you again on IG?
It's mdm.loveyourmind.
mdm.loveyourmind, and we'll put that in the chat as well. So, but again, if you stop what you're doing right now, mdm.loveyourmind, and go like her on IG, and you also have a Facebook page, right?
Yep. And they're both links for the Facebook and the Instagram are on the website as well.
Okay, cool. So let me put the website up one more time so that they can go there and find you. And the website is minddoesmatter.store. You can go there and get your merchandise, your MDM hoodie, yeah, just like what you have on too, or you got your bracelets, and they got them in different colors. So be sure you go out and support what she's got going on. Again, there's so many things that people could be doing, not even necessarily something bad. It could be a good job that just pays bukus of money, but she chose a career field that is necessary. It doesn't have all the glam out there, but it's definitely necessary. So we appreciate you for that. So with that being said, we're going to let you give us your parting thoughts, any words of wisdom that you want to share before we get off of here.
Just thank you for the support. You guys have been definitely a great audience to talk to. And just continue the discussion. Yeah.
Continue the discussion. And me, man, just thank you for coming on. Man, mental health, it's a challenge, especially when you consider the stigma that comes with it. We rather hide it and put the persona that we're tough instead of addressing it, and it doesn't go away. It really doesn't go away. So appreciate you coming. We got a couple more comments I'll read before we get off. Keep pursuing your purpose. Congratulations on the clothing and being confident and being true to you at your age. I'm here for it. I see. So she's one of our podcast members as well. Oh yeah, Tip. She says she want to pray for you. So I tell you what, Tip, call my phone. I'll put you on the speaker, and I'll let you lead us in the prayer if you want to do that. And Damika says, keep being great. You are going far, lady. Absolutely agree. And
thank you.
yeah, Shalana comes back and she's throwing up a bunch of hearts. So, hey, again, y'all know what to do. Go ahead and like and share. And again, we're on YouTube. So even if you're not on Facebook, if you know people that's not on Facebook, make sure y'all let them know about the YouTube page. And old Tip, she done chickened out. she said she wanted me too. Cool. So, hey, we appreciate you. And I hope you'll come back, right? This is just the first time, not the last time.
Yes.
And Shalonda says she's going to the website now. So proud of you. So let me throw the website up one more time before we get out of here. Go out and support her, y'all. And the questions keep popping up. Everybody. Good deal. So appreciate you. Kiara, we'll see you back here at least one more time before Mental Health Awareness Month. Mickey, appreciate you for raising such a beautiful young daughter with a beautiful heart. It's a reflection of you. And one last before we shut it down. Awesome. Great meeting you. Checking out the website as well. All right.
Thank you.
All right.
Let me do it for you.
Baby, the floor is yours. Yeah, baby, the floor is yours. If it come down to the floor is yours. Let me show you how I prove the floor is yours. The floor is yours.
All right. See y'all next time. Thanks again for joining.
Thank you for having me.